Ronnie, how's it going today?
Ronald, it's great. How was your day?
Man, it was a funny day. So I was at the stoplight, I looked over, some dude had his finger way up his nose. And it reminded me of that time back in college when you were at a stoplight
Yes.
and you were picking a big booger out of your nose. And there was a woman that looked right at you next to the car over.
Look, I think this beckons the question about, do you pick your nose? And I think we need to really dive into that in detail.
Yeah. Do you pick your nose? I don't know.
Let's cover that. All right, so do you pick your nose? Yes. Everyone watching, you pick your nose. The question is how you pick your nose and how often, and if you're doing it because you have a booger or you're doing it because you need some enjoyment in your life.
I don't get why people don't admit it. Everybody does it. I mean, you have to clean your nose some way. So there's going to be some picking involved, right?
Even if you blow your nose, yes.
100%. It's really about when, where, and how. How are you going to do this? Because that's where you get into trouble. When's a good time to pick your nose, Ronnie? You know a lot about this.
When you have a booger, you should pick your nose. Like if you have an itch and you all been there where you feel something, pick it. But to Ronald's point, where? So where is it okay to pick your nose?
Okay, first off, not around other people.
Dude, what are you doing? That's gross.
I wasn't doing anything. What are you talking about? And also, maybe when you got some hand sanitizer, or so you can do it before and after, because next you go into a business meeting, shake somebody's hand after you just picked your nose. Disgusting.
Yeah, but they didn't know about it. So, boogers come out because they're ready for an exit.
Okay.
And sometimes they get stuck, whether it's on hairs, whether it's on, your nasal canal, and sometimes they need a little assistance to get out. So picking them out of there is important. I agree with you that the wear is important. Probably in the privacy, in the bathroom, in your own room.
Yeah.
And to Ronald's point, make sure you have somewhere to put it because it's not a pick and flick. It's a pick and place.
There's a reason you go to the bathroom in the toilet. There's a reason you put the boogers in the garbage or someplace else so people don't see them. We got to talk about the how.
All right, well here we are with our demonstration nose, and I'd like to show you all the proper ways in which you can pick your nose and get maximum boogers with minimal effort. So first what you do is you use your index finger, if you have some deep ones in, and you really get in there and you almost use it like a chisel. You're chiseling the booger away from the inside of the nostril wall. One great technique. If you have a little booger that's right on the tip, sometimes you can grab it with your forefinger and your thumb and you can get it, but if you need to, you can get in there with the thumb and kind of like a flicking motion, try to get it out of there. That's another really great technique. Now, if you've got some really stubborn booger that's way up on in there, what you do is you take one hand, you flare the nostril out, and then you reach in with your two fingers and you try to rip it out.
Ow!
Oh, a little too hard there. Sorry, Mr. Nose. If none of that really works, the last thing that you can do is you get up close to a mirror, grab your tweezer, and you get up on in there and just yank that booger until it comes out. Now, two things to be very careful about. Don't stab your brain. Some people's brains go further down towards the nasal cavity than others, so you gotta be very careful of the brain. And then the second thing that's really important is if you start bleeding, focus on the other nostril, the one that's not bleeding. All right, well, I hope this has helped you learn how to properly pick your nose. If there are any questions, please visit my website at youcanpickboogersforfree.com, also better known as the Nose Doctor. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Don't just start putting your finger up your nose. I mean, that's just really gross. You can find some Kleenex. If you got a pesky one, you got some nose hairs, get some tweezers.
I don't know that I'm in agreement on this. I think the finger is a very useful tool.
I'm not saying not use your finger. Let's just use a Kleenex.
I mean, let's look at just the or physiology of the body. Like finger, nose, interesting design considering the finger fits perfectly up the nose. Do you think that's just by accident or was it designed that way?
I'm not sure this is a one-size-fits-all situation. Some people have little dainty noses with little tiny nostrils or whatever, and some big old fingers, you know, like banana finger hands. Like those pinkies can be really large, Ronnie, if you're talking about pinkies. I don't know, I think it could be dangerous.
Well, listen, there's a difference between necessary picking and recreational picking. Those are not the same thing. Necessary picking is you clearly have a booger and you need to get it. Recreational picking is exploring to see if you have a booger. Those are different topics.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it drives me crazy. You know, when you're on one of these like video calls and during an hour you see someone like touch their nose easily 100 times and then you start counting how many times they're touching their nose because they're doing it incessantly.
I have a confession. I have turned off my camera to get a booger on a Zoom call once before.
Perfect! But yeah, the whole like touching the nose incessantly and everything, I mean, it's a compulsion for some
Or
folks.
maybe they were telling you had a booger and they were like trying to be like, hey dude, like get that booger out of your nose.
All right, good point. I'll take note of that.
Oh, it's on the other side.
Oh,
That's the other nose. Yeah. No, let me get it for you. Watch it. I'll get it. Got it.
Thanks, man. You're a real friend.
This really, though, honestly makes me think about a couple things. First and foremost, should you pick your nose? Like, is it truly designed that you should pick your nose? And is there some risks, as you say, to doing it? And I think the only way we're going to get a definitive answer is talking to a medical professional on this.
Okay, we gotta do that.
So we have a nurse ready to talk to us about the very scientific art of booger picking. All right, well, we are here with a registered nurse, Lindsay. And Lindsay, thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of the show today.
Sure, thank you for having me.
We got kind of an unorthodox question, maybe not a question you've ever been asked before. Do you pick your nose?
Not on a regular basis.
Maybe it's a better question. Should you pick your nose? Do people pick their noses?
I think probably most people have at some point, yes.
Yes.
So is there any medical reason why you wouldn't want to pick your nose?
It's probably not the most sanitary thing to do. If you think about where your fingers have been throughout the day, you probably don't want to, you know, just because you could transmit germs.
What if I have clean hands though, and I just washed them? Is it okay to pick my nose? Is there any dangers I need to worry about?
If you're not gentle, you could possibly cause some bleeding.
Okay, so what's the alternative? Don't use your fingers. How do you clean your nose?
Yeah, I would just grab a tissue and just blow.
Just blow,
Yeah.
right?
But what if I can't? There's that stubborn booger and it won't come out. Is
Those
it okay
pesky
to,
ones,
like,
they're
just,
dry and they're just
I mean, someone's got to push it out, right?
I would say if you wash your hands and just gently get rid of it and then wash your hands again, and then maybe if that's happening a lot, you could figure out, is your nose dry? Do you maybe need a humidifier? Is there something else going on?
That's great advice. And also, making sure you get some tissue. You're not just doing it with your bare hands, Ronnie.
I've noticed that the finger and the nostril are eerily similar in size. Do you think that was planned by somebody as they created us?
Maybe. I can't say for
Coincidence?
sure.
Can you stab your brain by picking your nose too deep?
Oh gosh. I think that would be really, really difficult.
So a lot of our viewers don't have the option to grab a tissue. They don't have the option to have clean hands. They're driving. Something all of a sudden itches, and it's that that stubborn itch when you get a booger that's hanging and you just can't leave it there. You can't wait till you have clean hands or a tissue. If you've got to pick and you can't ensure your hands are clean and you can't get a tissue, do you have any advice?
I guess if you have to do it.
What about like when and where? If you had to do it, when should you do it? Like where?
If you have to do it, probably not in front of people. It can make them kind of squeamish.
Yeah. Lindsay, you got me thinking though. Is there environmental or what you eat or anything that can affect how your mucus gets created?
Definitely the environment can play a big role
Okay.
in how much mucus gets created.
All right.
I don't know about food.
So when you say environmental things, you mean like allergy season, you might get more mucus or something like that?
Yeah, or if you live in a dry climate.
Why do we have boogers in the first place? What point do they serve? Is there a point behind them?
Yeah, well actually it's to protect your body and your lungs specifically from germs getting in there and going down into your lungs.
All right, so the takeaways from today are boogers are good. They're meant to get stuff out of your body. Use a tissue. Clean hand is option 2. All bets are off. Just get that thing out of your body if you can't do anything else. Right? Is that a fair takeaway?
That's pretty good.
Right. More or less. Lindsay, you've been great. Great sport. Not so great question from Ronnie, but this was perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming out. We've enjoyed it.
Ronnie, Lindsay was so great, super informative.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of science behind it, but there's also a lot of just function behind it, as we can see. But one thing we didn't ask Lindsay that I think we probably should have asked is, there are people out there, and I'm not saying this is you, Ronald, but there are people out there that pick their nose and eat it. Now, it sounds kind of gross, but it makes me wonder, is there nutritional value in a booger?
I often wonder why Ronnie really cares about that question, but that's okay. Let's find out. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. We have a registered dietitian here. Jennifer, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
If you do pick your nose and you happen to be an eater, is there any nutritional value in the booger?
I guess you're going to get a little bit of protein, but I'm probably a little bit high in sodium.
And does what you eat impact the mucus that you make?
I guess it would, just because what you eat kind of impacts all the products produced by your body, but I don't know that I've read any studies about the content of mucus. So.
Well, you can tell that Ronnie knows a lot about boogers and eating them and all that kind of stuff.
I'm not going to go there.
Yes.
If you are a nose-picking eater, you need to make sure you eat healthy food so that booger is tasty, has low sodium, and as nutritious as that mucus can be. Is that the takeaway?
I would agree with that. I'm still going to tell my children not to eat their boogers.
All right, well,
wise counsel.
Jennifer, thank you so much for weighing in on whether boogers have nutritional value. We didn't know. Clearly, it's a topic that further research needs to happen on.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for joining us today.
You are very welcome.
Well, as you can see, there potentially is some value. We'll leave that into the hands of the pick and eat folk out there.
Yeah.
And we're not judging.
No
That's
judging.
That's your thing.
Just don't do it in front of other people, please. But hey, if you've got other ideas about this topic, do you pick your nose? Should you or not? And when, where, how? Let us know. Leave the comments down below. Let us know. And check out one of our other episodes. Ronnie, let's go someplace and not pick our nose.
I make no promises, but I'll see you later.
See you, Ronnie.